Let me say that again. The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're gonna let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude, no more of that, because you're too good for that. And we're gonna take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line.
Shalom. This is the priest and the brother Azan Ha Ahmath back at you with another lesson. I pray this lesson is edifying to the lambs of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Habrakwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well and teach well. Peace and salutations to the Bayah Shah Dawodah. And I just want to get into this short video, all right, bringing a clear understanding of what we see on the screen. It says white social construct, all right, supremacy. Okay, and white supremacy is what's been put in front of us, all right, as a way of control, right, benefiting the Edomite, you see, and the beloved Elder Malcolm, who I found myself doing a couple lessons, responding to the lessons that he has put out, all right, because he has a heavy spirit against the Edomite, and I do too, and I'm gonna use this channel, this platform that I have, to expose the Edomite. And as the scriptures say, his own tongue is fallen upon himself because his technology is speaking against him. We're going to hear what Elder Malcolm says about the word socially constructed, right? The word white and what it's meant for and how it's used, okay, to deceive. And this is what this white man did when he came out of that bottomless pit. And now his philosophies and doctrines have poisoned the minds of you Americans, which is why you don't understand when we say white and black is a social construct, right? When you go into the book of Revelations, the 20th chapter, it explains exactly what the Edomite planned to do when he came out of that bottomless pit in Rome, right? This is Revelation 20:7. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations, which are the four corners of the earth. All right, and that's what he's done. He's deceived the nations to believe that, all right, he's at the top. The so-called white man, the so-called Jew. But we know who the Jews are, coming from Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Not Ashkenazi, Khazarian, and Caucasians, which are Edomites from the Mount of Seir. Let's play this.
Scientific evidence shows that there is no single gene or set of genes that defines black people or any racial group according to the governing. Race is a concept that varies across cultures and historical periods, further highlighting its social nature. Historical contents, the idea of racial categories emerged during the Enlightenment, partly to justify social hierarchies and a system like slavery. According to the National Institute of Health, NIH, this historical context demonstrates how race was created to serve a specific social and political, and that's exactly what it is. It was created to keep a certain group of people up and a certain group of people down, and the people that...
Right, you hear what he said? It was created to keep a certain people up and a certain people down. And who's in the power seat now? Esau, Edom, and that matches up. The scripture said that the wicked would rule over the earth at these times. All right. And they sit at all the power positions and all the power seats, making all the decisions. They got the government shut down. They're shipping billions and millions to Ukraine and Israel. And people over here in America don't have nothing. Right? These are the ones that are in control. The Edomites, not white people. And when you go to Chat GPT, all right, I asked that same question. White social construct, what is it? Okay? And it says, here's the breakdown. No biological basis for white. Genetically, there is more variation within so-called racial groups that between them, whiteness doesn't correspond to any distinct genetic cluster. People label white, e.g., Irish, all right, Italians. And you know, the Italians, all right, a lot of them is Jakes. Ashkenazi Jews. You see that? Right? So the Ashkenazi is actually in the book of Genesis. All right, referring to, you know, Germany, but Ashkenaz. These ain't the average, this ain't the red-blooded American in America, man. But they're all Edomites. Edomites. Okay? And then they use that white name to rule over the people. To spread that white supremacy. And I want to focus on number 3. Whiteness was legally and socially engineered to justify slavery and colonialism. That's what the elder just said. This is what it was created for, right? Grant privileges, voting, land ownership, immigration. See, Esau is Edom. Okay, let's go to Genesis, right? Not a white man. White is a social construct. This is why we teach these things, so that you understand and know. To call yourself an Israelite, all right, a Hebrew Israelite, not a black man, knowing the distinctions from the other nations, and that the nation of Edom is Esau. It says it right here in Genesis, all right, 36:1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom, right? Who is Edom? Go down to verse 8. Okay? Showing you that Esau is of Mount Seir. Right? This is where they came from the mountains, dwelling high. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. You understand? Esau is Edom. So when we read, okay, justify slavery and colonialism, right? Grant privileges, ownership, immigration, divide working class people, okay, the poor whites and enslaved blacks. See, this is what they did. They used that white name and that white power to justify slavery, right?
Slavery, white people, systemic racism, white people, racism in general, white people. Oh, look at that, you're Christian. Bet. Christianity being used to justify slavery? White people. Christianity being used to justify massacring Native Americans? White people. There's a fake Christian that sold Bibles with his own names on it sitting in the White House right now that was built and maintained by slaves. This motherfucker's white.
But it was biblical that the Lord put us through that. And just going to the book of Genesis, okay, the 10th chapter, man. All right. Genesis 10:5. But these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and their nations. See, these are different nations. And the Edomites themselves are a nation of people that dwelt in Mount Seir. You see that? So what the elder is saying matches up what Chat GPT is saying. It says through constructed whiteness, structures access to wealth, redlining, generational assets. See? All right. And who's put Jake through redlining? Right? Separating the rich and the poor. Who has the wealth?
Scientific evidence shows keep a certain group of people up and a certain group of people down, and the people that were supposed to always be first in this society were labeled white, and the people who are to be permanently on the bottom were labeled black, even though their skin is brown. At the end of it, they are going to fail.
Right, they're going to fail because they came not in the truth. Right? Okay? The Lord never gave them his commandments, but they do have the wealth. Okay, it says wealth, redlining, and generational assets. Well, that matches up, okay, with Ezekiel 35, proving that, okay, Mount Seir are the Edomites, not white people. Okay, it's a social construct. Ezekiel 35:2, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. These are our people. And say unto it, thus saith the Lord, power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Okay? Hey, the Lord is against the Edomite. Right? Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate and cut off from him that passes out, and him returneth. Why? Verse 15, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so I will do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it. Thou shalt know I am the Lord. Now let's read that, all right, in the blue letter. Okay? Ezekiel 35, showing you, okay, Mount Seir, who it is. And these are Edomites. See that? Seir, hairy or shaggy. That's not an Israelite. That's an Edomite. All right? He came out red and hairy. The patriarchs of the Horites, all right, which aren't in power anymore, the Lord took them out. The inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, right? The land of the Edom, south of the Dead Sea. So these are all Edomites. Mount Seir. Okay? And he can go a little further. Right? Because when it says Idumea, okay, verse 15, Idumea, all right, Edomites, not white people. See that?
Strong's H123. Edom.
Edom, red. Edom, Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau. All right? Same people from Mount Seir. The Edomite, red. He came out red. Genesis, hey, this is all matching up. So, ChatGPT is in line with the elder is saying. All right, what we're bringing out, what we're reading. All right, safety policies, they make the policies. The education that we have, the American education system, is derived from the mind state of the so-called white man. And here's the kicker. It's not imaginary. It's a system of advantage based on perceived proximity of Europeanists. Okay, white is not a scientific reality. It's a political category that changes with time, place, and power. It was built, rebuilt, and policed, okay, to maintain hierarchies, and it still shapes life outcomes today, okay, even till this day. And this is what he just read, the elder. Let's play it again. Hierarchies, to give them the upper hand, and you have the lower hand.
Was created to serve a specific social and political, and that's exactly what it is. It was created to keep a certain group of people up and a certain group of people down, and the people that were supposed to always be first in this society were labeled white, and the people who are to be permanently on the bottom were labeled black, even though their skin is brown.
And the Bible says that they would have wealth, that they would actually flow in wealth. When you go to Esdras, hold on, right? Second Esdras, 3rd chapter. So this will flow in wealth. Right. Second Esdras 3 and 33. And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see they flow in wealth and think not upon thy commandments. They don't think upon the Lord's commandments because they got all the power. You see? And they're up and we're down. But this is biblical. This is showing us that through prophecy, they're supposed to be where they're at. And you're supposed to be on the bottom. Just like the elder just said, just like ChatGPT is saying. Right? They're going to be the head, and we're supposed to be the tail. Thus saith the Lord for the punishment of Zion. Right? Hey, but that punishment is almost over. You see? Deuteronomy 28 and 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. Right? They have all the banks. Right? They lend you car loans, house loans. You see that? We don't lend anything to them. They own all the diamond districts. They control all the finances, the commerce. You see, again, we're on a shutdown.
I'm talking about the wicked ones in the Jewish community that run America, run the government, run the world, own the banks, own the means of communication. They are my enemies.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Okay? So they're on top, and we're on bottom. That's the hierarchy, okay, that this is saying. White is not a scientific reality. It's a political category that changes with time, place, and power. Don't they change the names, places, and times? Dates, change the lands, and name them after themselves? Right? And still shapes life's outcomes today. You see that? So they do that by what? Oppression. By violence. By stealing and lying. Again, generational assets. That matches up with Micah 2, man. Right? The Bible was on you, Edomites, man. You see that? Hey, Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. The power is in their hands to do what? They covet fields and take them by violence and houses and take them away. Say they will oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. You see that? So they oppress a man and his house and his heritage, right? Redlining, generational assets.
In every way imaginable, the consequences of redlining to many black and brown communities across America meant that those communities had the least and the last of everything. And to this day, the median wages and income of those communities and the financial insecurity that people who live in redlined communities face has long-term health consequences for families, has educational consequences for young people whose schools often don't have the tax basis to give them the same resources that communities that were never redlined actually have.
It was built, rebuilt, and policed and maintained hierarchies. We're talking about the Edomite, man. Divided working class people and enslaved blacks. Okay? Only free white persons could become citizens, but courts debated who qualified. All right, and they labeled us not even a full man. So the Lord is showing us, okay, through his own technology that's giving us the truth. This is why we use this, device, this platform. Okay, Chat GPT, the scriptures are against you. The scriptures are speaking loud and clear, and who the biblical Edomite is, right? And also, hey, the prophets are against you, man, because we have the ability to dissect the Bible, match it up with history, prophecy, and make it make sense. The artifacts are against the white man. History is against the white man. Paintings and frescoes are against the white man. Right? So like the elders are saying, hey, they're going to lose.
Of Health, NIH, this historical context demonstrates how race was created to serve a specific social and political, and that's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. That word white is a social construct to be over the people, control, supremacy, power, which is why they have the word whitewashed. Because everything that was pure, they painted over. All right, we know about Maccabees, they painted over the images. And they used this platform, all right, in their power seat to deceive the nations, to deceive many. But through prophecy and scripture, the Lord is making them bare. Let's get this is Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. See, he can't hide himself anymore. We know who the white man is. We know exactly who you are, right? And through Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's promise, the whole world is going to know who you are pretty soon by you being exposed from the wickedness that you produce. And with that, give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Habakkuk Dash. This is the brother Azan Ha Ahmath of Bob the Ball. Shalom.